Business Moment of the Week. Brought to you by Black Powder Coffee, the official coffee of WSIC. This portion of the show will bring you a business tip based on what business owners are looking for when buying a small business. Presented by our very own award-winning industry expert, Joe Vagnon. It is time to maximize the value of your small business before you are ready to sell. Back to the studio, here's Joe Vagnon.
And you are listening to Maximizing the Value of Your Small Business. These tips are for sellers to help them either prepare or be ready or understand what a buyer is thinking. I've got a special tip for you today. It's tip number 18. Let the buyer know you are prepared. Prepared for whatever. One of my guests talked about cybersecurity. I gave it a lot of thought. I went to the website that he asked me to go to, which is a FCC website, Cybersecurity Tip Sheet. It is a great website. Hey, your government's doing something good for you right here. And so go to the FCC. It has a cybersecurity tip sheet. And what we've tried to do for you, you can go to our website, jvagnon.com, and we'll provide this for you. I wanted to go over just a few things because what I found interesting as I read this, these are 10 things that I know buyers appreciate that a seller has done, which means it gives credibility to you as the seller. And that's what we need to do, because trust is the foundation to any deal or any transaction. So if they believe you have tried to prepare and protect your organization, they're going to feel more comfortable with you. And so that's the core here, right? And so there's 10 cybersecurity tips. I really like them. Training employees. Man, let me tell you something. If you just tell them and train them what email not to click on, that's about 70% of the problem right there. So a little bit of training goes a long way. Protecting the information. Where is that information? Make sure it's protected. That's going to make a buyer feel really comfortable that there's no future liability out there. Provide firewalls and securities for your internet. Listen, I'm not telling you how to do this. I'm simply saying you need to find a way to make this happen because buyers really do care about this. Create a mobile device action plan. What this means is if there's a problem, you want to let everybody in your organization know as fast as you possibly can. You also want to make sure that you're not being hacked through your cell phone, and sometimes that's the area where your employees miss the most. And we're going to have a special co-host on early next year that's going to be able to help us with all of this. But for now, go to jvagnon.com and we'll get you this. You also can go to the FCC for this. Make backup copies. Let me say it again, make backup copies. Let me say it again, make backup copies. You got to do this. It's so important, this value. Anymore, your data is what I'm selling. Your data is probably more important than the current client base that you have because your data is potential new clients and also marketing and lead generation in the future. It's so important. You want to make sure that stuff is protected and back it up. Control physical access. This is something most small business people overlook. Leaving your computer around, leaving it on while you go to the restroom or you're at the coffee shop. These are things I promise you are surprisingly what hackers are looking for. Be very cautious, and remember, it's not only your data, it's your client's data that you're holding. Be more respectful of that. And so give that some thought. Make sure that the Wi-Fi network that you're on, if you really are going to go to the Starbucks and get on their Wi-Fi, let's make sure you're protected before you do that. It's not a smart thing to do. Employees' best practices, especially if you're taking any kind of credit cards, make sure there's a process and a system in place. You really do want to make sure that the customers feel good about the payments. A buyer wants to make sure you're doing that right because they don't want a client to come back 30 days after the close and say, hey, I didn't pay for this, or you charged me too much for that. You definitely need to limit the employee's access to the data. And listen, I learned a long time ago, the best way you can protect your employees and make your employees feel comfortable and you is to not put them in a position that they can or would steal data and or other valuables for you. So you put a system in place to make sure that this data and the information is limited and who and how they can get it. It is really important you put those policies and procedures in place. Buyers are really going to like that. And the last one is the best new way to approach this. I'm sure it's going to change in the future. It changes daily. But your password should also have this authorization system to it where, number one, from time to time, the authorization comes to your phone and gives you a code, and so there's a second layer to make you get into some of these things. It really is a lot of protection. It's a very secure way of doing that, especially any kind of financial information. Take a look at this stuff. Don't look to me to be the person to solve these things for you. I just want you to know it's out there. It's important for the buyers. Go to the FCC Small Biz Cyber Plan 2.0, or you can go to the cybersecurity tip sheet on the FCC website. This has been another way to maximize the value of your small business. I promise you it will pay off. Let the buyers know you are prepared. Cybersecurity for small business. You are listening to Maximize the Value, and we'll see you next tip.